One of the great mysteries of oil painting. Why the heck are there so freaking many white tubes of paint to choose from? Do you ever find yourself in the art store and you're scratching your head wondering, why are all these tubes of paint available and what are they used for? Well, stick around because in this video, I'm going to give you the lowdown, the deets, the 411, all the information you need to select the right paints for your work. Hi, my name is James Owens, and on this channel, I share the techniques, tips, hacks, and history that I've learned over 35 years to help you become a better artist. White paint is the one paint you'll use most in your work. You'll mix it with everything, and it's the foundation of your palette. Now, every artist needs to have a basic understanding of the different kinds of white paint and their uses. In this video, I'm going to give you a basic understanding of the confusing world of white paint. While researching this video, I discovered some white paint that I didn't even know existed.
Yeah, it's your white paint here. That's right. Whatever kind of white paint you want, we got it. That's right. We got flake white. We got flake white hue. We got titanium white. We got unbleached titanium white. We have titanium white soft. We've got cremnitz white. We've got zinc white. We've got mixing white. We've got soft mixing white. We've got superba white. We've got underpainting white. We've got foundation painting white. Whatever kind of paint you want. The same kind of paint Mama used to make.
It's enough to make your head spin, and that wasn't even all of them. So in this video, I'm going to focus on 3 of the main white paints you'll run into: flake white, titanium white, and zinc white. But stick around to the end of the video because I am going to touch on those other whites that I mentioned. Let's cut through some of the mystery and pull back the veil. In simple terms, paint in its simplest form is nothing more than small particles of pigment held together in a binder. Now that binder can be water or some sort of refined oil like linseed oil or safflower oil, and that's it. Now through the centuries, there have been sophisticated formulas developed, as well as new modern binders, but at the heart of it, it's still ground up colored stuff mixed in some kind of goo. I once read a story about World War II. A number of tanks had been shipped to Africa to fight the Nazis' Africa Corps, but the problem was the tanks were green. Not a great color for desert warfare. So a fella came up with an idea. He gathered up a bunch of dried camel pies, waste, manure, poo, crap, ground them up and mixed them with motor oil. He then proceeded to paint this all over the tanks. Now I'm sure it didn't smell too good, but it got the job done.
Now, where was I? Oh yeah.
Now white paint has been made of everything from ground up chalk to ground up bones. But the most common element used to make white paint has been lead carbonate. So, the first white we're going to cover is the granddaddy of them all, flake white. Now, flake white is considered a lead paint because it's mostly made up of lead carbonate. And its binder is usually safflower oil because this helps prevent yellowing. Most modern versions will have a dash of zinc oxide added. This is the paint of Rembrandt and Sargent, Vermeer and Rubens. This was the standard of paint used by artists for centuries. So why would you want to choose this white? First of all, it has wonderful handling properties. And being that lead as a pigment is less absorbent than others, it requires less oil as a binder. And because it has less oil, that means it dries faster. So the combination of its handling properties, its thickness, and its fast drying ability, this makes it perfect for impasto painting. Now, it isn't as strong as other whites. It's more semi-opaque, but that makes it perfect for tinting without the white overpowering your tint color. And in the long run, that means you'll use less of your other more expensive colors. Now, flake white has a warmth to it that other whites do not, and this makes it ideal for mixing flesh tones. Now, lead is toxic, but if you take the proper precautions when working with this, you won't have any problems. Just don't breathe in any of the raw ground pigment. Don't regularly get it in any open cuts. Don't hold a brush in your mouth when you're working with this. And above all, don't eat it. I can't believe I have to say that. Although less widely available today, you can still get flake white made with real lead. Although most common manufacturers have reformulated these flake whites to remove the lead. This will most times include titanium white and zinc oxide. Winsor Newton's version of this is called Flake White Hue. This modern version has similar characteristics to genuine Flake White. It retains its lower tinting strength and faster drying time, and is still ideal for mixing warm colors. I have this genuine tube of real Flake White that I inherited from my grandmother's painting kit. Let's compare it to the modern Winsor Newton Flake White Hue. One of the first things I noticed was right out of the tube, the oil had separated from the pigment on this modern version, and it hadn't on the vintage actual Flake White that I was using. Also, it doesn't seem to have the same body as the original, but the color was very similar. Next up, titanium white. Developed in the early 20th century, titanium white has quickly gone on to become one of the most widely used of all the whites. It's neutral in its color temperature, so it can easily be tinted cool or warm. This puts it in between Flake White and Zinc White. It's the most brilliant of whites, as it's made with titanium dioxide, which reflects 97% of light. It has great coverage strength and is wonderful for mixing when you want a more opaque application. In fact, it has about twice the opacity of Flake White. It's non-yellowing and has a stiff consistency and is probably the best all-around white to have in your studio. I would say if you're only going to have one white paint in your studio, then this is the one to have. You just want to be aware that if you handle it wrong, things can start to look a little chalky. Hey guys, if you're digging this video, you're getting some value out of it, please be sure to hit that subscribe button, hit that like button, and don't forget to hit that bell so you won't miss any of my upcoming videos. Up next is Zinc White. Zinc white began showing up in the early 19th century. That's the 1800s. This white is non-yellowing and dries to a cold white appearance, which makes it perfect for mixing with cool colors. Zinc white has a longer drying time than both titanium or Flake White, and it's most useful when used in thinner applications like for glazing or scumbling. When applied thicker, it has a tendency to get brittle. One report I read said that a 14-year-old sample shattered like glass when bent. Now this can be helped with the addition of linseed oil or stand oil. So Zinc White does have its uses, but its long-term stability is in question. So what about all those other whites, like mixing white, transparent white, foundation white, underpainting white, etc., etc., etc.? Well, they all have the exact same pigments as the first ones we mentioned, mostly titanium dioxide and zinc oxide. They're all slightly different formulas of pigment ratio and types of oils to take advantage of the best attributes of all those elements. For instance, linseed oil has a tendency to yellow over time, whereas adding safflower oil to that, which doesn't yellow, helps to balance that effect. By playing with these formulas, the manufacturers have created variants that allow for more subtle and specialized uses. But in my observation, they seem to be variations of Flake White, titanium white, or zinc white. Now I've used titanium white for the majority of my work over the years, but if you're just getting started, I'd say stick to the two basics, Flake White and titanium white. Flake White if you like to do a lot of flesh tones or portrait work, and titanium white as the workhorse of your palette. These will be good to get you started, and once you've used those for a while, then experiment with the fancy blends. So there you have a basic overview of the confusing world of white paint. I hope you found some value in this video, and I want to thank you for watching. So until next time, go make something cool. Owen's out.